Welcome to my journey through Middle-earth. Along the way, I will share this journey with many friends, both real and imaginary. I will have help from lots of different people, for which I am eternally grateful. Heroes and fellowships shall rise and fall, sometimes with surprising outcomes. We shall be travelling through the events of the Lord of the Rings, but events may not happen the same way. We will, after all, be playing games. But where to begin? With a prologue, of course.
Three young hobbits stand on a hill and look down onto the farm of one Farmer Maggot. Maggot is famous across the Shire for his produce, but most particularly for his mushrooms. Frodo Baggins, Meriadoc Brandybuck and Peregrine Took will do anything to get their hands on some, despite the risks posed by the farmer and his fierce dogs.
The three young hobbits stare greedily at the mushroom field, the prize mushrooms. They are willing to take any risk in order to get some. In the distance, in the kennels, Grip sniffs the air and smells something untoward. He is going to investigate. Now, this is our first scenario in our journey through Middle-earth, and I've made a few changes to this scenario, which is Farmer Maggot. So, what is the case, as you'll notice, is that only three hobbits we have: Frodo Baggins, Peregrine Took, and Meriadoc Brandybuck, and they are younger than in the films because we are going by what's happening in the book, and this is our prologue where they are raiding sometime before the events of the Lord of the Rings. As there are only three of them, it is very difficult for them to win this scenario, so I have made some changes. You will see that in order to get out of the kennel area, the dogs have to get over a fence. It is also further to the field, and there are various obstacles to get through. And the stash marker, which you'll see just here, is much closer to the field than it would be ordinarily, so they should be able to get a head start. However, as soon as the dogs get to them with their superior movement, all hell will break loose, especially if Farmer Maggot gets alerted, which happens if one of the dogs takes a wound. Each of the hobbits have 3 wounds, which are denoted over there, and if they lose all of their wounds, they run away, bitten and scratched. So, all will become clearer as we play the game. The good side, which is Farmer Maggot and his dogs, will use the coloured dice, and the evil side, or in this case our erstwhile hobbits, will use the black dice. So we're going to start off with our first priority roll, and this goes to the good side. So our dog Grip is going to move 2 inches, and this is a good start, as our orchard gets knocked over. 2 inches to the fence and attempt to leap the fence. He does so, but only gets to the other side as he stares down and sees the hobbits in the distance, and the hobbits will move into the field. So Frodo doesn't quite make it. In fact, none of them quite make it into the field. So no stash markers for them. They need to get 5 in total in order to win the scenario. So we go back into priority for the second turn. And priority once again goes to our dogs. And so the first Grip will move much closer, and as he does so, out emerges Wolf. Wolf will then move too. You'll see that the dogs only appear one at a time in this scenario as they are alerted by the barking of Grip. And he will try to leap the fence. He rolls a 1, so as he goes towards the fence, he stumbles and nose dives into the ground and stays the other side of the fence. Okay, so our hobbits are all going to move into the field in their movement phase, and they will all collect at the end of the turn a stash marker. So that's 3 stash markers collected of 5. Surely they cannot lose as we go into priority for turn 3. And once again, it is the dogs. So, will he? He's going to go the most direct route. He's going to try and move an inch and leap the fence. So he's got to take a jump test to get over the fence. And he doesn't. He shies away at the last moment and fails to get over the fence. If he'd got over with a 6, he could have been straight into Frodo, but that leaves the hobbits with a chance to get away. But now, let's see if Wolf can get over his fence. And he does, but he only just gets to the other side. But plenty of movement, and out comes Fang. And Fang is going to move forward 4 inches. And he's rolled a 6, so that means he gets his full movement the other side. So over another 4 inches. So there we have Fang has managed to get into a good position. So our hobbits though can now move away, and they can move back towards take a little bit of wiggle room to get around Frodo, and they each get a stash marker to go with them. They've managed to pick some mushrooms. So all is going well for the hobbits at the moment, but let us see what happens now. Will the good side win priority again? No, the evil side have. This is good news for them as they move into base contact with a stash marker, and they're all going to go as far away from the dog they can hear coming. And then, but they can't do anything while they're with the stash. They can't throw stones or anything like that. That's a rule I've made. Too busy carrying things. So 6 to there, and another 2 towards the hobbits. As here come the other dogs, and they're going to go round rather than try and jump. Okay. And poor old Wolf, who was out second, is lagging behind. Right, so the end of the turn comes, and that means we have 3 stash markers. So 3 objectives completed for the hobbits, but it's going to get more difficult for them now. They need 5 in total. They have a good hoard of mushrooms. So who's going to win? So the good side have 1, which means they're going to attack now. I'm sure he would go for the nearest hobbit, so he's in on charge on Frodo there. Now they're only holding sticks to ward off the dogs. They haven't got swords or anything else, but they still get their normal attack profile. But no sting or anything like that for Frodo. He hasn't got it. He hasn't got a ring at this point either. And one of the things that could happen in our journey is a story. So it's not just a case of following the events of the Lord of the Rings. They could die. We're going to use the campaign rules from Quest of the Ringbearer. But they could die at any point. And the story might have to take another twist. Now, a lot of action happening at the top of the board here. So we have the hobbits. What are the hobbits going to do? Well, I think Merry is going to go 2 that way and 2 that way. So he's going to come out here and then go there and head for the field. And Pippin's going to try to ward off our dogs. He's going to be incredibly brave and try to charge into Fang, but he has to take they cause terror to the hobbits, so he has to take a courage test. With his courage of 4, he just makes it. He's got to get a score of 10, so he's going to charge into the dog here and see if we can send them back to their kennels. Right, so we have mighty 1 attack. So this is Frodo against Grip. And Frodo is knocked back. It's 4s to wound against the hobbits. And no wound on the hobbit, so Frodo just backs away and fends him off. And then we've got Pippin against Fang, and he rolled a 5, but Fang rolled a 6. So he backs away. And he is wounded, so we have a wound. So wound goes from Pippin. Okay, and we go back to priority. Important priority now. And the priority once again goes to the dogs. Now, I don't think that they would change who they were attacking. So this dog's going to charge into Frodo and then into Pippin. But Wolf spies someone heading for the field. So he intercepts Merry, and there's nothing that the good side can do about it. They're all in combat. So here we go. We're going to start with Pippin and Fang. Here we go. Pippin against Fang at the bottom here. And Pippin wins the fight. Fang drops off. Can he wound? He's got a wound on a 5. And he does! So Fang is sent back to the kennels. And Pippin strikes him. And he runs away whimpering. So here we go. Frodo versus Grip. And it's a tie, and they're tied on fight value. So therefore, it goes to Frodo, because they are the evil side. Can he wound? He can't wound. And the final fight is Merry. And Merry loses. Backs off. And it is a wound against Merry. So Merry has lost a wound. Now then, things are looking interesting. So we've got 3 hobbits against 2. But at the end of the next movement phase, as Farmer Maggot steps out of his door, did I hear something? Has he been alerted? So here we go. So let's move up slightly so we can see that Farmer Maggot has appeared at his door. Priority goes to the hobbits. Now, what can they do? The dogs are somewhat in the way. I think Merry can sneak past and not come within an inch into the field. And I think Frodo and Pippin are going to have to try to charge. Let's not forget the courage test. So Frodo, courage 5, no problem at all. Just going to come round onto this one. Now, this could be important for Pippin. Courage 4. Yes, rolls an 8. Goes in. Right, that stops those dogs being able to get to Merry. Okay. And that's the end of the movement phase for the dogs as well, because Fang cannot come out of the kennel until Farmer Maggot comes across to him. Has Farmer Maggot been alerted on the 3+? He has. So he sees in the distance people raiding, and he sees Fang in his kennel. He's going to move across to release him. Okay, so we've got two fights. So Pippin loses, backs away. Does he take a wound? He does take a wound. Only 1 wound left. When they get to 0 wounds, they do not die, they run away in fear. And then Frodo and Wolf. And Frodo rolls a 1, so Frodo loses as well. So we have... Does he take a wound? No, Frodo hasn't taken any wound. He's managed to fend them off. Okay, but at the end of the turn, Merry gets a token. Okay, let's see who wins priority now, as things start to get tense, and it is the good side. So, I don't think these dogs would stop attacking the same people, so they're both going to charge in. Farmer Maggot is going to come across and open his gate. Okay. What are you doing here? Get out! Get those hobbits! Okay, so we've got 2 fights. And this is Pippin and Grip. Oh, and so many 6s rolled by the good side. So Pippin... Is Pippin going? No, he's staying around. No wound. And this is Frodo. Ah, and he wins with a 2. So that's... Can he wound a dog on a 5? No. Okay, so... We are going to roll for priority. And it is the evil side that win priority. Now, I think our 2 hobbits need to continue to fight to give Merry a chance to get back. So let's roll some courage tests. So here goes Frodo. Frodo, 15. And Pippin. Yes, lots of courage being shown with 1 wound, Pippin. And then I'm going to move Merry out with his stash. He's trying to avoid the battles around him. Okay, so the evil movement, the good movement phase is Farmer Maggot is going to come in and release his dog. And he's going to go round, so he doesn't have to take a jump test. So with a movement of 8, he's got 3 left. Okay, here comes Fang. A couple of movement phases left to get there. And the fights. Here we go. So Pippin has won the fight. Bashes him back with his stick. Does he wound? He wounds! sends Grip back to the kennels. And that leaves Frodo. I think the hobbits have now got a good chance to get away with the stash. But Frodo does lose the fight. Is he wounded? He is wounded. So Frodo takes a wound. All of them scratched and battered. And that takes us to priority. Priority goes to the evil side. So Frodo is going to try and charge back in. And he does with no problems. Pippin's going to try and charge in, and they're going to see if they can send this one back, which might just win them the game. And he just does, rolling a 6 with his 4 courage. And then Merry is going to come back into base contact. No one can get to him, so they've now got 4. They only need 1 more, and if they send this dog back, I think they might get away. So we have the movement phase of the dogs. So here comes Fang, and we know 3 to there. As Grip comes charging out as Farmer Maggot sends him. I was thinking about bringing Farmer Maggot back into the fray, but I just don't think he's got the movement to get there, so he'll stay in case any other dogs come back. So here's our fight. So we have 2 attacks for the hobbits and 1 for Wolf. And what incredibly high rolling there as the hobbits take it on a 2. They've got 2 strikes now, and unceremoniously send Wolf back to his master. Okay, so I'm not sure there's much that the good side can do now. They definitely, well, it doesn't matter on priority, I don't think, too much. So here's priority. The hobbits have it. So these 2 are going to move into the field. In fact, there's only 1 set of mushrooms left, so actually Pippin's going to move this way to try and head off the dogs, as is Merry. Frodo's left to get the stash. And what I've done is I've given a Fang a chance to get in. I don't think he can get both of them. He's got the movement, but he can't. Can he? No, I haven't made that big an error. But he's going to go in on Pippin. Smells blood. Okay. And then 8 inches up. And out comes Wolf again. Okay. Merry can throw a stone at Grip on a 3+ to hit. No, his stone sails wide. So we have 1 fight, and this is Pippin against Fang, and Fang takes it. Uh-oh, on a 4 up. Pippin's off. Okay, Pippin has run away as his last wound goes. Scratched and battered, he's had enough. He can't face those dogs anymore. Okay, and our last stash marker goes to Frodo. Okay, it's not over yet. That makes things a bit more interesting as we go into priority. And priority goes to the... Now, I think for the game, Fang sees that Frodo is in the field, which he's sworn to protect. And he's going to move in on Frodo, as Farmer Maggot has moved up to watch proceedings. And then, of course, we know it's within 8 inches. So this could set the cat amongst the pigeons. And once again, up comes Wolf. So we have two combats. Let's do Merry first of all. Merry and Grip. And Grip takes it. Can he wound Merry? No, he doesn't wound him. That could be important. Here we go with Fang on Frodo. And Fang takes it. Frodo has dropped it. As soon as he was charged, he dropped this marker. But does he take a wound? He does take a wound, so Frodo's down to 1. Okay, things are getting very interesting indeed. Can they get away with their stash, or do they leave it behind? As we go into priority. And the hobbits take it. Now then. That objective marker is now a light object, so he can pick it up while he's moving. He doesn't have to wait in the field. It's an interesting turn of events. So I think he's just got to go pick it up 1 inch. Then it's going to take another 3-inch movement to get him out here. He knows he's going to get charged by the dog and drop it again, but it's getting closer. And to stop Frodo getting double charged, I think Merry has got to go for a courage test, which he passes. We passed all their courage tests. And he's in, but the bad news for him is there's plenty of movement for Wolf to get in on him as well. And of course Fang is then going to charge Frodo, who drops it so close. So let's do the fight down at the bottom first. So Merry loses. No, oh, I rolled the wrong dice. Let's roll the right dice. Let's roll the right dice. So yes, loses the fight on a 5. And 2 strikes on him. Merry has taken a wound, but he's got 2 left. So he's still there. Very important. Here's the big one. Frodo versus Fang. Frodo takes it. Can he get rid of Fang? 5 up. No. Okay. So it's all down to priority now. If the hobbits win it, he can pick it up. Oh, I just need to check when that marker goes into the stash. Yes, so having checked the scenario, all Frodo has to do is get in base contact with the stash marker and drop it, and that means that the hobbits win. So it's all down to this priority. Here we go. And the good side wins on a 5. And of course the dogs are all going to charge in and stop the hobbits from getting away with the stash. So we've got Merry against 2 dogs. He has 1 wound left and he loses the fight predictably. Does he take a wound? 2 4-ups. Just a 4-up needed, but we've got 2. And Merry runs, leaving just Frodo behind. Frodo against Fang. And he loses. Oh, it was all looking so good. And Fang does not wound him. So, it's still on. If Frodo wins the next priority, he can pick up the last of the stash and make away with all of the prizes. Here we go. Priority. And Frodo wins priority. He grabs the stash. He runs, drops it, and grabs the rest of the stash and runs away as fast as he can as the dogs stop at the perimeter of where they're allowed to go to. And here we go. Frodo, with all his stash, meets up with his battered, bruised, scratched and bitten friends. And they make away with the plunder. But Farmer Maggot will catch him another time, show him to the dogs, and he will have fear forever of these fields. Couldn't really have gone any better if I just planned it without any dice rolls. What a fantastic game that was, and the start of our journey through Middle-earth.
It would be some years before the intrepid hobbits once more visited the farm of Farmer Maggot. On that occasion, it will be in fear and flight, needing all the friends they can come across.
My thanks go to Wayne Kemp, who designed and built most of the terrain for this film. You'll be seeing a lot more of him in the future, particularly as I do not intend this to be me playing alone. Thank you for watching. Please join me next time on Journey Through Middle-earth.
Where is your Baggins?